You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
On the line, we have Rick Neighbors. He is a Vietnam veteran, retired now, I believe, from working in the apparel industry for more than 35 years. And he recently acquired his MBA, his master's in project management, which is my field. So that's interesting. And he's on the line today to talk to us about his candidacy for Congress. So Rick, thanks for taking the time to call in and talk to us this morning. I appreciate it. Rick?
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Good deal.
Allow me to be here. We know that labor is the foundation of our nation. And people, our working men and women, is what make us the country that we are. So I'm glad to be here and glad to be speaking to the people who make the products that we use and consume throughout this land.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. I really do. And you're absolutely right. That is, labor is all wealth comes from labor. This is something that is common sense. This is something that Republicans used to agree to. Abraham Lincoln said that labor is superior and always prior to capital. And this is something that Teddy Roosevelt believed in, that labor was that all wealth is created by labor, and so it's important to recognize that. It's important to stand up for the rights of working people, and so like I said, I appreciate you taking the time. So can you just tell us a little bit about why you decided to run for Congress, what you're kind of centering your campaign around, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in North Carolina, and I came to Alabama in 1979 in Oneonta and transferred up to Hackleburg in 1980, and that's where I met my wife, and this has been my home ever since. What got me interested in the political race was, quite frankly, in 1980, people could make a living wage working, and in 2010, they could not. The working people of this country, well, like you said, all wealth is created from labor. You got two things. You got material and you got labor. And what is capital? Capital is nothing but excess labor that's been accumulated. And over the years, we've been taking the labor bill where they can't earn a living wage. In 2010, came across a program to build a factory in Alabama paying $20 an hour in the time when the average wage in the 4th District was $10.50 an hour. And this was making compact fluorescent lights. And I tried to reach out to the gentleman who had this business, wanting to build this factory. I didn't get through. I contacted Robert Aderholt, the guy I'm running against. I said, make a phone call and see if we can get this factory here paying 400 operators paying $20 an hour in 2010. He did not make that phone call, and they built that factory a year later in the state of Ohio. I was very curious and did not understand why our representative would not reach out with an opportunity. He could take credit for it. I didn't care. We just needed to get the jobs here at living wages, or at better than what we had. That's when I began to look at his record, and in this 4th District, we have had a continuing decline in our standard of living for the workers throughout this district. Poverty rates have increased 54%, and people are struggling. And the reason they're struggling is that our legislators, have created the laws that do not benefit their people, but benefit those people who pay for their campaign re-elections. And to me, this is wrong. It's not right. And we have created this view that working people are supposed to make poverty wages, and I categorically reject that claim. They need to, if they're essential workers, they need to be paid like they're essential workers, and we have to change the laws to allow that to happen.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And so you said that you started looking into Aderholt's record, and since I'm not in the 4th Congressional District, I honestly don't know a whole lot about his record. Can you kind of tell us about tell us a little bit more about his record and why you think that it does not kind of stand up to scrutiny? 'Cause, obviously you wouldn't be running against him if you thought he was doing a good job. So what are some of your critiques of his record and like the things that he advocates for?
Well, what he advocates for?
Well, just
that is hard to down because he doesn't advocate for much. He is one of the most absent representatives on voting. He doesn't live in the state of Alabama. None of his kids have ever gone to school in Alabama. Therefore, he does not know that this county is 66% rural, this district, and we've got these rural schools still using 20-year-old textbooks. He doesn't know that.
Yeah,
He's not experienced that.
That's kind of what's... Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
In 2005 in DeKalb County, he was the deciding vote. They got over 8,000 jobs out of that district. We've got Bishop Mountain in Marshall County sitting up there. Their water supply, they had wells, has become contaminated. In 2017, when he was running for re-election, he said the money was to build that, put that water line in so they could get drinking water. Well, it's still not done.
Yeah. What surprised me more than anything about...
He does not represent people of course. If you go look what he talks about things in the 5th District, things in the 6th District, things in Eastern Germany, but not about the needs of the people in the 4th District.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was going to say is what surprised me more than anything about Aderhold is the fact that he hasn't lived in Alabama since he's been in political office. None of his kids went to school in Alabama, and his kids are college-age kids now, by the way. One of them, my understanding, is going to Auburn, but they never attended public schools or any schools whatsoever in Alabama. He's basically MIA. So how can someone understand the needs of the people in his district if he's never there? I mean, it's impossible.
I absolutely agree. And the question arises, and I guess from your listening audience, is what do we expect our congressional representative to do? This is from a federal standpoint. This is the person, the individual that represents 680, 700,000 people. That is their job to represent that interest. And he replaced a man by the name of Tom Bevel. And Tom Bevel was known. It doesn't matter what came up before him. He was known for asking the question, how will that benefit my people in the 4th District?
Yeah.
More than once, whether a Republican bill or a Democratic bill, he said, I don't think my people would like that, and he would stand against it, or that it will benefit my people, and he will stand for that. Some people don't know, but the I-22 corridor that went through, Tom Bevel and each Congress appropriated $10 million to keep that project alive. It did not come into fruition until after he left office, but he's the one that was looking out for the people of this district to ensure he understood he had the forward division to look forward to know that need would be there. And he laid the groundwork for a decade more before he left office, and it finally came to fruition afterwards.
Hey, Rick, you may have said it, but how long has Aderholt been in office?
Too long.
Too long, yeah, you're right. I think 26 years. He's been
24 years.
24 years. So, I mean, basically, he's a career politician. He's what most of the Republicans say they don't want in the state of Alabama.
Well, I would say that I have pledged for term limits and support term limits on our on senators and the representatives. And I've debated this particular issue on term limits because I said, number one, it's a constitutional issue. You've got to change the Constitution. And number two, people should have the right to vote for who they want to vote for, even if it is an incumbent. But I think our system has become so distorted
Yeah.
and so biased towards incumbents getting reelected. And when we do that, and they're getting reelected because they've changed the laws to impact the corporations which fund their campaigns. For instance, 98% of his campaign funds come from PACs and wealthy people, not from the people in the 4th District. So we have to, in order to shake that up, I'm an advocate of term limits just because of what has happened with our career politicians today.
Right. You know, it is really unfortunate how kind of distorted the electoral system has become with you know, the wealthy being able to basically buy and sell politicians and being able to give them lucrative and wealthy careers after the end of their political career. So we're coming up on the end of this segment, Rick. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Where can folks find you if they want to learn more about your campaign and stuff like that?
Neighborsforcongress.com. I encourage you to go there, read about that. If you like what you read, sign up. And if you really like what you read, join the group and let's go change our neighborhoods.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Rick. It was a pleasure having you on.
All right,
Thank
that was Rick Neighbors. He is running for Congress in the 4th Congressional District of Alabama. Like he said, if you want to learn more about him, you can go to his website and find out more. We will be right back with more of the Valley Labor Report. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. And we also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So you can see if we're on your listening platform of choice. You can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. And if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.